I've gotten straight A's basically my entire life in school, but I regret missing the true benefits of being a student. In today's video, I'll share the 3 lessons I've learned through focusing only on grades. Now, getting good grades isn't a bad thing, but at some points it really just takes over and changes your whole focus on why you're even in school. Which takes me into my first regret. I missed the bigger picture. Let me ask you, what is the main goal of going to school? It's not to get straight A's, I can tell you that much. For me, in most of my life, my biggest goal was to get straight A's. Please my parents, make sure everybody around me knows that I am that 4.0 student. But guess what? I missed the bigger picture. The bigger picture is for you to learn. Yet sometimes that just got lost to me. Think of a class that you've had to take because you were forced to, rather than you wanted to. Whether it was because you needed it to pass or you just wanted to get the grade and get out. Now, how much of that class do you remember? How much did you learn from that class? In my instance, when I've had a class that I don't want, my main focus is to get that A and get out. But really, I missed the bigger picture of actually learning. Every class, every course, every teacher has something to teach you. And in my shoes, rather than focusing on learning and growing my knowledge, I focused on getting an A. You would learn the material just for the test so you can get that A and move on. However, now in my later years as a college senior, I realized how big of a mistake this was and how you should just be able to grab 1 or 2 things from every class that you take and apply it to some part of your life. Now, the second lesson I learned was that I took on a performance-based identity. What does that mean? Recently in a book I read from Michael Garvis, who's a sports psychologist and works with some of the world's top athletes. He talks about how performance-based identities really ruin our performance because of how we compare ourselves to others. So this idea really hit me. In school, I would constantly compare myself to my classmates, my friends, and really anybody I could think of. And the biggest issue with this is that I take the focus off of myself and what I'm able to learn and put it on other people. I focused on what she got, what he got, and how I did compared to them. Now, only years later do I see this is so wrong and how constantly comparing yourself to others ruins your own ability to learn and grow your own knowledge. Now, think of this. Have you ever asked a classmate or a friend what they got on a test? Have you ever felt bad about whether they did better than you? Or did you feel good about yourself that you did way better than them? In this issue, we're constantly comparing ourselves to others rather than focusing on ourselves, which really shifts our attention to getting that A and proving to others that we're smarter than them, when really all we're doing is chasing a grade rather than learning. Now, if you really are learning and getting that A, great job. But don't compare yourself to others because everybody is different and unique in their own way. Think of it like this. I'm running a completely different marathon than what you may be running. We're all different and we learn differently, and the only way to really tap into your potential is to focus on what you can do to improve yourself rather than comparing yourself to everybody else around you. Now, my third and final lesson I learned from focusing too much on my grades was that I wasn't getting involved enough. It wasn't until my 3rd year of college, which was last year, that I realized focusing so much on my grades really put this tunnel vision for me and what I think of school. When I go to school, I should be able to take advantage of everything they have to offer. And in college, I had so many opportunities to join clubs, to go out to social events, to do all of this and connect with other people rather than go home, focus on my study guide for hours on end so that I made sure I got an A on my exam. Now, there's nothing wrong with studying. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with studying for a test. But at some points you have to realize that if you use just even a little bit of that time for studying to go out and use some of the resources that your school gives. In my instance, what the college offered me was the opportunity to meet others, to connect, to use their different resources that they have versus going home, studying for my test, ace the test, and then do it all over again next week. It really ruins your whole mindset. At some point, getting grades in school comes to an end. But learning and connecting with others is something that you have throughout the rest of your life. So if I could make any suggestion, don't focus on getting the grade, but focus on everything that your school has to offer and grow yourself. Now, getting straight A's is not a bad thing. It really isn't, but it's what we do to get those A's that really decides whether they're worth it or not. Are you sacrificing getting straight A's for your own knowledge and learning? Are you doing it because there's a pressure on you from others, your parents, whoever it may be? Are you not getting involved because no, you have to get that A, otherwise it ruins the rest of your life? So if you could take away one thing from this video, that's to focus on learning. Don't focus on the grades. Do not focus on getting straight A's if it comes at the price of not learning. Really, that's what it all comes down to. Knowledge is king. Wisdom is the biggest thing you can build over time. So as a student myself, I want to learn from you guys. I want to see what you guys think and whether or not you agree with what I have to say about getting straight A's.